Hi friends and viewers, and welcome to my channel Ceasefire. Today I'm going to do something a little bit different. For some of you, you know that my mother passed away a couple of years ago, and we used to make Portuguese sausages together. And I never wrote down any of the ingredients in terms of the ingredients, yes, but not how much of a proportion of each I'm putting in to make the sausage. So today I'm going to do a little bit of an experiment and do it in front of you just so you can see how we used to do it together. But the quantities I'm going to be sort of guessing on, so I'm hoping that it works out, and I'll let you know how it works. To start off with, I remember that we used to put salt, so I've put in about 2 tablespoons of coarse salt here. Let's put it into a bowl. And the other thing that we used to put in at the beginning was paprika. Again, I have no idea how much. I've got this little jar here. I'm just going to pour some in. I don't know. Like a third of the jar, I guess, went in. Something like that. And next I have 4 tablespoons of pepper paste. I'm out of homemade pepper paste. I had to go and buy some. This is a Canadian brand that makes Portuguese food locally, well, in Burnaby, so I ended up buying that from the store instead of making my own, unfortunately. That's about, like I said, about 4 tablespoons of that one. And lastly, I'm going to add some chili flakes. I don't know, they're just those pepper flakes you buy to add a bit of spice, because this is a mild pepper paste. I'm used to a bit of a spicier one, so I just want to make it a bit spicy. So I put in, it's probably 3 teaspoons of it, something like that. And then I mashed up some garlic. Instead of just chopping it up, I used more like a device that I can like kind of mush it up and make it like a, it's not just chopped up, it sort of releases the flavor a bit more. You could just crush it up or whatever it is. And then from here, I'm just gonna mix these together and make like a nice paste with all of it. And as you can see, it's just basically looking like this. And I'm just going to mix it all around. Now, I know that on my family comes from the island of Pico, and different islands make their linguiça or chorizo differently. We call it linguiça, where we're from, on the island of Pico. And I know that even on the island of Pico, people do it differently. I've heard of some people for the acidity that I'm going to add here pretty quick. They'll use things like orange juice or lime juice, lemon juice, things like that for the acidity. My parents, I don't know if it's just their own family, regionally, whatever it is, but they would use beer. So I've got myself one can of beer. I'm just going to pour into this. So now I've mashed up the paste and I'm going to add the beer to it. And this is going to help to make that marinade. So there's 1 can of beer. A little bit of vinegar. This is homemade vinegar that I've got that I made. It's like made of white wine vinegar basically. I've got about 2 tablespoons. I do not remember how much my mom used to put in, and my dad, so I'm just going to put in 2 tablespoons to start, because I literally don't know. I remember it wasn't very much. It was just to cut or to put some acidity into it. And then lastly, I'm going to put in some white wine. I made this wine myself from a local place here that you brew. But anyway, I'm just going to pour approximately a 1.5 cups-ish. I hope that was a 1.5 cups. And then mix it all around. I've got the paprika. That's a little bit of a ball here. It's not mixing up very well. Okay, and I stir it all around. Now the key is everyone likes it to taste a little bit differently, pardon me. So what I'm going to do is just dip my finger in and just taste it and see what I think about it. I think it's pretty good. Just remember that when I add it to my cut up pork shoulder, that as it melds in and the salt soaks into the meat and the spices, it will kind of change a little bit, but you just want to make sure it sort of tastes the way that you want it to. I think that's pretty good. It's not spicy enough yet, so I'm gonna have to add some more chili flakes because I do love it to be spicier. And I think that's where we're gonna leave it. So I'm gonna pour it in. Oh, and just to be clear, what I did was the meat is just cut into tiny little pieces this big. I don't use a grinder. That's not the traditional way to do it, so I'm gonna keep with tradition. We cut it by hand, and this is a pork shoulder or a pork butt, any of those. And I just waited till it was on sale and bought one, and now I chopped it all up, deboned it, chopped everything up, including the fat. As you can see, there's bits of fat. You want both fat and meat, not just the meat, because it needs the fat involved as well. And now all I'm gonna do is just pour it in, just like that. And with my washed hands, I'm just gonna quickly wash my hands just to make sure that they're 100% clean before I put my hands in. Okay, I'm back. And all I'm gonna do is just take the meat and I'm gonna massage it in to the marinade. And then I'm gonna put it in the refrigerator after this and leave it for a couple of days. I would say 48 hours. I remember, maybe even, my parents used to make huge amounts of it though. And the last time I made it with my mom, we made about 80 pounds. We did make a huge amount. So and I remember it being in the fridge more like 3 days. So I don't know, we'll see. I'll start at 2 days, and then you just take a little bit of like a small portion like this after it's been marinating for a couple of days, and you fry it in a frying pan and just see what it tastes like. If it needs something, for example, a little bit more salt, a little bit more spice, or it's not quite marinated enough, well then you just leave it in for a bit longer until you take another small amount and do the same thing. Taste it after frying it, and then you get an idea of what your sausage will taste like. Once it's perfectly marinated, then we'll start filling it into the hog casings, and I'll show you that after it marinates. So thank you for joining me, and I will hook up with you again when it's time to show you the next step. Thanks again for joining me. Hi, and welcome back to my video. So it's been 3 days since I've started marinating the pork, and I'm going to give it one more day, but I just kind of wanted to show you where I'm at the moment. So the pieces they smell a little bit vinegary, spicy, and today I took a little amount and I fried it in the frying pan just to see what it would taste like if it was already in the casing. And it's perfect in terms of how much salt. I've had to add a little bit here and there, just keep dipping my finger and tasting it, and every day, twice a day, I would stir it and mix it, take a little taste and add whatever I needed to. So I did add a little bit more salt than what I originally did to it, and a little bit more vinegar I added as well. Those are the two things I added more of. So that's what it looks like at the moment. And then I have now gathered up my hog casing. So it's, just gonna put this back up on here, cover it, and show you. So I bought these natural hog casings. They look like that. And what I've done now is just put it in water in a bowl. It comes with this little ring where you can kind of pick them up. And you just they just sit in the bowl like this in the water until they get pliable and soft. And what you do is you find one of the ends and open it. And you take one of these funnels. There's different types. I've got a yellow one like this, and I've got two of these metal ones. So either one. And then you just put it over top like that, and then you start sliding up the casing up the funnel like this. And you keep going, keep going. I'm not doing it today. This is just to demonstrate. Still want to let it soak anyway. And you just keep pushing it all the way up, and then you start filling up the sausage, and then you push it all the way, push the sausage meat down, and keep moving it down until you fill the sausage casings up. And then you tie them off and hang them up for smoking. So, but I'm not going to start filling them today. I just wanted to show you that. I'm just going to let it soak in the water overnight, and then tomorrow I will start filling them. Okay, so that's just the update so far. Just to let you know, I did add a bit more of the salt and vinegar to it, and I just kept tasting it. And then the hot pepper flakes, you have to adjust it. I ended up adding a little bit more hot pepper flakes as well, because I like my sausage spicy. Okay, thank you for joining me on this part of it, and when we come back next, you'll see how it looks when they're filled. Okay. Ainda vai dar muita linguiça.
Linguiças bem lindas, chamada de Santa Luzia do Pico.
E das bandeiras.
E das bandeiras, também, da banda do pai.
Não esquece do pai.
Não se esquece do pai.
Ok.
Já temos aqui há bocado, mas já tem 52 pounds e tem mais maybe 30. Lá tínhamos 80 e tal pounds.